Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a quick process video for you today showing how I'm going to cover this pocket journaling Bible. This is the kit that matches the newest devotional kit, Tetelestai from Bythewell4god. They have this kit that matches the colorway for that. And there are also other colorways available in the shop too. I will put my affiliate link down below, but I'm just kind of showing you everything that you get. You have two different fabrics that you could use to cover the journaling Bible, and then you also get a bunch of different fabrics, some end papers, and then in this little package you get 36 journaling cards and 4 sticker sheets, 2 of each design. And so you get a lot to be able to decorate this Bible with. So I'm trying to decide which one of these fabrics I want to use. In the end, I decide to put the like cranberry color one down first. So I'm just kind of loosely fitting this before I put any adhesive down, just to try to make sure that I have enough space to wrap it around. So I'm just getting it where I want to, and then I'm going to take these little clips here and hold that in place. I get asked about these clips all the time when I do these. I got them in like the automotive section kind of my grocery store actually, and I've had them for quite a while, but you could use binder clips, or you could use paper clips even, or just whatever you have. These I happen to have these, and so that's what I'm going to use. And so I'm going to use this floral fabric as well. I want to have kind of a raw edge on that, so I'm going to tear that down. And then I'm also going to use some of that pink, that extra pink fabric. There's a lot of fabric that comes in this kit that you can do, decorate these journals and add, different accents and things. So I am using this Cocoina glue stick. This is a starch-based adhesive. You can actually get this also in like a tub and whatever, but the stick is actually just very convenient. So I started on the back and I covered it, and then I'm moving around now to the spine, and I do kind of one little section at a time. I've done several of these on my channel, so this process isn't maybe new, but I just thought I'd share this today. And then I'm going to go ahead and also cover the back. And right here, I'm just taking my scissors and I'm making a little triangle, like cutting out a little triangle at basically the front and the back of the text block. And what this is going to do is allow me to be able to wrap the fabric around, and then also be able to tuck that little piece down inside the spine once everything gets a little bit set. So on the back, I'm getting ready to wrap this around, and I just wanted to trim out some of this excess fabric. That's just going to help so there's not so much bulk. So I'm just going to put a thin line down here for this section, the long section, and I'm going to use my little clips to hold this in place. This adhesive sticks pretty well pretty quickly, but having the little clips just helps it a little bit, and I needed to trim that down just a little bit more there. So I'm going to add this adhesive across the bottom, and when I get to the corner, because the corners of this Bible are rounded, I'm trying to kind of make it almost pleat. I'm going to do a little close up here so you can kind of see. So I tuck it, and then I kind of fold it around, and then I add some more adhesive, and then I kind of fold that back around, and so it ends up kind of doing like a little pleat around the rounded edge. And then I'm just going to hold that in place with my glue stick, and I'm doing that. I did that for the front cover and the back, and now I'm going to tuck those little extra pieces. I have a little paper clip that I'm using, and I just added a little bit of adhesive on that fabric, and you can just, if you pull kind of back the cover back a little bit, you can tuck that piece of fabric right down into the spine. So I did that for both the top and the bottom. And now I want to add this fabric. I'm just trimming it down just a little bit more. And this is going to wrap from the front around to the back spine, around the spine. But I also wanted to have a little kind of transmission piece. So I'm going to use this piece of pink that was also in this kit, and I just trimmed it down, just made it just so that's just kind of this little section. It was much wider. And I also tore that so that I had the rough edge on there. And I'm just trying to get this in place where I want it, and I'm going to again use this same adhesive here, just kind of putting this in place, and then I'm going to go through kind of the same exact process. So I am gluing this down, and then I will finish adding some more adhesive here, some more glue stick right to the edge of this cover piece, and that's where my little floral piece is going to go. And then I'll wrap it around and do the same exact thing on the back side, and then on the spine I'm doing the same exact thing. I cut the little sections out, and then I'm just wrapping these little pieces around into the spine, and all this is going to get covered up with those end papers, so don't worry about that. And then I'm just holding everything in place till it dries, and then I'm going to tuck these extra little fabric pieces down inside the spine. If you didn't want to do this, you could certainly just trim it down, since there's already fabric that's kind of wrapped around, but I just went ahead and just tucked it down in there. There's plenty of space in that area because the spine is kind of a curved spine, so it's really simple to do. So now I'm pulling off all of my little clips here, and I will actually set this under something heavy for a little while, just for that glue to really set. And then I can move on to this next piece. I was going to do a closure, and I decided not to do that, so I wanted to wrap this this trim around. So I'm using some Fabri-Tac, and I'm only going around the very, very top section of this trim. I wanted the bottom part to be open, and so I'm just holding this in place so I can kind of keep it even as I go all the way around to the back. And then I'm just going to keep that in there, and it will wrap all the way around. Sorry. Then I'm using just a thin bead of glue, like I said, around the top. I'm just going to let that sit, and while that is drying, I am going to work on folding my end papers. So these are going to go inside. It's going to cover up all of the rough edges of that fabric. I'm just folding these in half. The great thing about these journaling Bible kits, these pocket journaling Bible kits, is that Bythewell4god cuts everything down to size. So it really takes everything. These actually come together really quickly because everything's cut to size. You don't have to worry about measuring or anything. So I just folded this in half and used my bone folder, and I'm going back to the Cocoina adhesive here, and I'm just going to cover this blue paper here. I like to work on the paper section first so that I can get it even. I'm just making sure that there's none of that blue paper showing, and I'm kind of tucking the fold down into the spine, just making sure everything is really nice and neat. And then I will open this up and add adhesive to the actual card itself, and then just making sure I have a really good coat of this. And then I kind of use my fingers here and tuck it into the fold, and then I close the Bible around it. And then now I'm going to put some of these little clips on here, especially on the corners, just to make sure everything is good and stuck down. I'm going to do that for both sides. And while that is drying, I have this little charm. This is a little like bulb clip, and then I have these little metal charms that I found in my stash, and I thought it would be fun to hang from this this trim. So I'm just going to adhere this right here. And then it's at this point, I was trying to go back and forth. I had some it's a little key and a little like metal tassel, and I had some other things, but I decided not to use those. And it's at this point I decided to take off all of these little clips and look, and I realized that I had put this on the wrong side, and I actually glued my trim upside down. And I thought about like trying to take it off, but I used Fabri-Tac, and it wasn't coming off. I just didn't feel like I could do that without ruining it. So at this point I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and just leave it. So I just reattached my little clip and thought, well, I will just deal with it. And but as I just kept looking at it, I couldn't, and so I had to fix it. So what I decided to do is just take another piece of this trim and run it underneath that one and try and actually put this the right direction this time. But again, I only added that little piece of adhesive right at the top part of this trim, this little lace trim. And then I was actually able to pull back the little backer pieces. It hadn't fully dried yet, so I can tuck the lace kind of back behind there. I kind of just got lucky there. And then I'm just going to go through and add some more adhesive in there to keep everything, and then put my clips on there while all of that dries. And then I have this book plate, And I'm going to be using this Tim Holtz Foundry Wax. This is amazing. I love this stuff. It's going to go on everything. I love it. So I have this metal book plate that I want to add. So I'm mixing a couple of these Foundry Waxes to get kind of the right color, and I'm just applying it with my finger. The thing with the Foundry Wax is when you use it, you want to recap it right away. And then, you only have a little bit of working time with it. It dries out. It goes from like a liquid to a cream and then basically a powder. And so you really have just only a little bit of open working time that you can use. So I grabbed a pair of pliers here so that I can heat set this, because that's the other thing with the Foundry Wax is you have to heat set it. And just make sure that you're not, pointing your heat gun at the Foundry Wax bottles, because it will cause them to set. So I'm just mixing up another color here. I want another coat. Their Foundry Wax comes in 4 different colors, and I'm using like 3 different ones just to try to get this kind of tarnished brass kind of look. I'm working on a piece of deli paper here and just applying this with my finger, just trying to get, I'm wanting to add some texture. I really want this to look aged. So this is kind of what it's going to look like up here, and I'm just putting everything back on my little bulb pin, and I'm going to attach that back to my lace trim. And at first I thought I was going to do this kind of down on the bottom section, but it just hung down too far. You can see it actually hangs down beneath the Bible, and I didn't really like that, so I'm going to move it up on, so it's kind of attached to both sections of this lace. And I actually like how that looks a lot better. And so that's just going to kind of live there. And then for the rest of my little book plate here, it's going to kind of tuck behind that first section of lace. But what I decided to do is use my Dymo embossing label maker, and I typed out Holy Bible, and that's going to go behind my book plate. And I apologize, I'm kind of off camera here. You can hardly see what I'm doing, but I'm just using some paper to create a background for that, for those little labels. And then I actually went with a gold Sharpie over the white embossed words, just to give them a little bit of a better color. And then I will, I still kind of thought that my label was just a little bit brighter than I wanted it to be. So what I did is I went and I just got a drop of Dina Wakley black gesso, and I'm applying this with a paintbrush basically over the whole entire book plate. And then I'm going to come in with a damp baby wipe and kind of pull some of it back. And this is just going to kind of give it that mottled, kind of aged look. And I actually like how this is a lot more, I feel like it went better with the pieces that I added on that little clip. So now I'm just going to kind of fidget with this a little bit, trying to get this to fit inside my book plate. I trimmed it down a little bit too much, so I made it a little harder on myself than I needed to. But I added some of the Helmar 450 quick dry glue to adhere the label to the back of the book plate, and then I'm also going to use it here to attach the book plate to my little Bible here. And this is a really strong adhesive, and it dries pretty quickly, so I am able to just kind of put that right in the center, trying to get it in the center anyway. And I'm just going to hold that down for a minute until it really adheres, and this is what it ends up looking like. So if you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye-bye.